Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Veda and this is The Simple Budget. Here on my channel I show you how my family is using the zero-based budgeting method in order to get out of debt and simplify our financial life. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little crew here. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Well, hi everyone and happy Bonus Content Wednesday. Today is the long-awaited Q&A and coin rolling video. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of my YouTube channel. And so I thought this would be like a really fun way of celebrating that. I'm so grateful before I go further out all. I'm so grateful to all of you for being part of this community, for your encouragement, for your kindness, and for the way that actually you step up and answer questions that people have in my comments before I can even get to them. One of the things that I think we all have a goal toward is financial freedom, and if we can help each other along the way, that's just the benefit of a community like this. And so whenever I see that happen, it just kind of warms my heart. But anyways, so for those of you who might be new to my channel, this is your first video of mine that you're watching. I have been, we have been, Mr. Simple is here with me as my husband. We have been zero-based budgeting and cash stuffing for a year now. And we've made a lot of progress over the year. We started 2023 with just under $60,000 in debt. And if you did not manage to catch my most recent debt update, the 1-year debt update, we paid our balances down a total of $35,000. So we were super excited to be going into 2024 knowing that this is the year that we're going to pay our debt off. But since we've started using cash a lot more, we get change from those cash transactions. And that's what we're here to do today. So we're going to be rolling this change and answering questions that you guys sent. I actually have my laptop off to the side here so that I can see and answer every question that we have been asked. I also screen grabbed a couple that were left on a previous video as well. And so I think without further ado, we should probably just pop right into this. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to dump it. I won't talk while I dump it because it's noise. So that's it. This is a big jar.
That's not that much.
Maybe we should reduce the size of the jar.
No.
You don't think so? All right. Well, I'm going to put him off to the side. He has served us well. He came from the dollar spot at Target, who I've mentioned before on this channel is a wicked temptress, especially if you are trying to spend wisely. It is difficult to do when that woman is the first thing that greets you when you walk in the door of Target. Yes, it's a woman. Only a woman could be a wicked temptress like that. Anyways, should we just get into it?
Yeah.
Separate all of the coins? All right.
How are you going to answer questions with all this going on in the back?
Maybe we can take noise breaks.
You tell me. I'm just here.
You're just here?
I'm just helping you out.
You're just helping me out.
With the coin rolling.
With the coin rolling. This is like old gel nail polish. I don't even know how that happened. Okay, so first question, actually appropriate since we are counting the change. If your name is in the comment, I'm going to go ahead and say your name. Otherwise, I'm just, going to say the question. So first up from Cynthia, how does Mr. Simple track the roundups from the rest of the account? Does he keep 2 separate ledgers? So we get many questions, I would say a week, wouldn't you, about his spreadsheet or how he tracks the change and so on and so forth. So this is how he does it to my understanding, and he can jump in here and correct anything if I'm wrong. So in his spreadsheet, he will track a purchase. Hold on. I know, I'm already like,
This is funny.
I know, I'm already messing up. So he will track a purchase by rounding up to the next dollar. And then he takes the change that has been rounded up and adds that into the column of the spreadsheet that is the virtual coin jar. Is that as...
Yeah, that's like mostly right. This is not your ministry, so
This is not my ministry.
you know I don't expect you to know it. But basically, it's the same. It's the same method that we would do if we were 100% cash based. So in other words, if you bought something and you only wanted to deal in whole dollars. So let's say you took money from the toiletries envelope and you went and bought something for $2.75.
Okay.
So you've essentially taken $3 whole to purchase that thing from the toiletries.
Right.
So now you've reduced how much we have in toiletries by not $2.75 but $3.
Right.
You spent $2.75. So what happens to the other 25 cents? It would go in your coin jar.
Right.
So that's essentially the same thing that I've done in my spreadsheet. Is I've set that up so that when that charge comes in as $2.75, I subtract 25 cents from the toiletries fund.
Right.
Right? Because the toiletries fund, you know, if we had 15 in there and you spent $2.75, it would show that we have $12.25.
Right.
Well, we only don't deal in whole dollars. So I subtract 25 cents to reduce the toiletries down to $12. And then I go down to my virtual coin jar line and I add 25 cents.
Right. So basically, he set up, and I don't even know how he did it, and this is a question that we get an awful lot, and it's very difficult. We have thought about this, we have talked about this, for how to show you guys his spreadsheet. The difficulty of that is multifaceted, actually, because first and foremost, oh, I put a dime over here and the pennies over there. First and foremost, because our spreadsheet is so personal to us. And second of all, because it's not this like magical spreadsheet. He's not like, and I'm not insulting you here, but he's not like an Excel wizard.
No.
He's just using basic formulas in a spreadsheet that he like fashioned to work for our finances. So anytime an expense happens, like he dictates in the spreadsheet when income comes in and what it funds. And then anytime a purchase comes in, he has to subtract from that and go through the process that he just walked through with you guys. And so it is going to be a completely unsatisfactory answer in many ways, not the least of which is because, again, it's so personal to us. It's so basic. He doesn't have like spreadsheet wizard capabilities. And so as a result of that, it is very difficult for us to just kind of to show you that part of it. But essentially that's, I mean, the nuts and bolts of what you do.
Yeah, it's also, you know, this is your channel and your channel is about cash counting and cash stuffing.
Right.
I sit there with my spreadsheet on some of your videos simply because it's a way of, because you pull money from our joint checking account and I've got to track that.
Right. And,
you know,
and we
so,
don't just
that's
exclusively cash stuff. And so that's the other part of this is all of our bills money stays in our account. And so he knows, like from his spreadsheet, he tracks everything. So we have 2 different checking accounts. And so he tracks every expense and every bit of income that comes into both of those. And in his spreadsheet, he can reconcile all of those things based off of the purchases that we make on a daily and weekly basis. And so, like I've mentioned, like 143 times just in this one sitting, it's so specific to us. And so it's not really something that would benefit anybody else because the spreadsheet was also fashioned off of his brain and how he operates and works things, right? So I know that that's like probably such an unsatisfying answer to those of you who are spreadsheet nerds and wants to know how he does it. But that's really the best answer that we can give you, right?
Yeah, it's not advanced spreadsheet. It's pretty Neanderthal stuff.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and grab your phone really quickly and read off to me one of those questions, or I'll read it? Okay. Oh, this is a good one. So this is from Lucinda, who I absolutely love, and I believe she lives in the UK. One, where do you go for your holiday? Do you usually stay in the US? Two, would you consider doing another YouTube channel, i.e. cooking or what you enjoy, as this channel has become popular as your voice and personality are so lovely? I love Lucinda. Is there one item or thing you just refuse to give up? What part of your old budget has gone? And do they teach budgeting or financial lessons at college in the US? So those are great questions. One, first up, where do you usually go for your holiday? Do you usually stay in the US? When you're quite finished. We do actually stay in the US. We have rarely left the United States. We have gone to Mexico, the Dominican Republic, India. We lived in Haiti, which I'll talk about later. But we don't leave the US. One, because prior to this point, we've never been financially responsible. And so planning a vacation we've been to Aruba, but that was on our honeymoon. Yeah, so we've never really planned our finances before. And so as a result of that, we've never really been able to enjoy a nice vacation overseas. I think this was asked in another question. Like, I'll find it. But if I made this up in my brain, I really, really, really want to go to Belgium. Mr. Simple once went there on a work trip, and he sent me a text, and it has not left my brain since then, saying, if you were a city, you would be Brussels. So that has stayed with me ever since then, because he knows me really, really well. He was just really impressed by like the architecture, and he knew that I would love it. And I think you were there at Christmas time, right? And so the Christmas markets were out in full, and they were really lovely too. So I would love to go there. We do have plans in the future to do a couple of European vacations where we kind of hit some high points of places that we've always wanted to go. I think I'm answering another question by saying that, but that's the gist of that one. And then, would you consider doing another YouTube channel, i.e. cooking or what you enjoy? The answer to that is no. I appreciate that you think that my voice is so lovely and my personality is so lovely. But I think, like most of us, I suffer from imposter syndrome. And I still can't believe the success that this channel has had. Kind of blows my mind, actually. And this has always been my struggle, I have a variety of different interests that I feel very passionate about. And I don't even know where I would start as far as turning one of those interests into another YouTube channel. And a good friend of mine actually just told me recently that business success comes from staying in your niche and being the best in your niche. And because this is my YouTube niche for sure, and I'm very happy to stay inside of this. But as far as like doing another YouTube channel, I don't see that happening for myself. Is there one item or thing you just refuse to give up? That is a tough one. I would say that probably anything at this point that I have gotten from my dad, since he actually passed away two years ago yesterday when you guys are watching this. My dad was a big Steelers fan, and I have an old jacket from like the 80s, an old Steelers jacket from the 80s. That is one of my, like, if the house was on fire, what would you grab besides your husband and your children? It's that. I think probably, I can't think of anything else though that I'm particularly like attached to that I wouldn't give up. Maybe my mantle.
Yeah.
So this is actually a fun story. So where I used to live in Delaware, I used to drive by this old farmhouse every day that had long since been abandoned. And I always called it my lottery house. Like if I ever won the lottery, I would buy it and restore it to its glory. And because that kind of architecture is right up my alley. And the house, sadly, was torn down a few years ago. And a friend of mine who is really good at just all things, home related, was able to go in and get many of the pieces from inside of the house, like the mantles, the railings from the stairs, the corbels from the outside. And she refinished all of the mantles and then sold them, and I bought one of them from her, and I love it. And one day when we build our home, our like forever home, I want the mantle to frame the fireplace that I would love to have in our bedroom. So that would be my other one, I would say. And I mean, answering Lucinda, who lives in a country where all of the buildings and homes are old and beautiful. I'm so jealous of their architecture in the UK. Oh, can you open this? Because I think there was another question. But yeah, so those would be the things that I would say would probably, like, I would not want to give up. Did I answer all of Lucinda's questions? Oh, what part of your old budget has gone? Everything. Anything that can't be nailed down.
What old budget?
Right. Well, that's right. That's the other. We didn't really have a budget, honestly. We were not responsible with our money in any capacity, and any budget that we tried to maintain was very, very, very short-lived. And so, yeah, we don't really have one to speak of. And do they teach budgeting or financial lessons at college in the US? Mr. Simple's going to have to speak to that, because I actually did not go to college here or at all. Well, I mean, I took like a couple courses here and there, but I always say I have life goal ADD, and I never really knew what I wanted to study. And I am a mailman's kid, and he had 5 of us. And so my college was not going to be funded or paid for, and I didn't want to take out student loans for something that I didn't know what I was going to be studying. So, did they really do any kind of budgeting college classes when you were in school?
Not that I took.
Yeah. So we can't really speak to that fully and completely, but you would think that it would be something that they would teach not in college, because it is such an important life skill, but our education system is supremely flawed. So why would they teach something of value? That would just be silly. But that Pythagorean theorem, I got news for you. They drill that into your head. Anyways, my question is for Mr. Simple. What are you saving all that personal spending money for? Do you have something in mind for it, like giving it to your wife once you're debt free? This is from the Sarcastic Planner.
Absolutely. I'm just gonna hand her a check for all the money. No, I am saving for a PlayStation 5, and if you know anything about that, you're probably wondering why, because I think it's like $500. Why I haven't bought it yet, and the reason is because I think they're probably going to come out with a PlayStation 5 Pro next year. So I'm waiting until November of this year. I said next year, I actually meant this year.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that, so we'll see.
Here we go. Okay. I like this one from Lindsay Robinson. What's been the most challenging part of switching to the cash envelope system? We just started, and I feel like we are still trying to figure out how much we can stuff in our sinking and savings funds. The most difficult part for me was adapting, 1, to being so structured and disciplined, and 2, kind of in conjunction with what you said, figuring out how to stuff each envelope. My advice to you would be to over budget what you think you're going to need in the first couple of months while you're figuring out what you actually need. And then you can kind of amend it as you go, because not having enough and needing it is what's going to have you more likely to swipe a credit card versus having too much, being able to roll it over for a couple months and say, okay, you know what? We don't actually need to be budgeting this much in this category from month to month. And then you can reallocate that money somewhere else. So I hope that's helpful to you. Mallory, hello. First, let me say I love your channel. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to skip over some of the lovely things that she said. My first question is, do you think your Etsy shop would be successful if you weren't on YouTube? I'm looking to increase our income without getting a second job outside the home, but Etsy seems rather daunting and YouTube even more so. I do not think for a second that my Etsy shop would be as successful as it is if it wasn't for you guys. Those of you who have taken a chance on my shop, I think have been the driving force behind its success. YouTube is far less daunting, actually, in reality, than I initially thought. It is one of the easier parts of my like side hustle stuff. And so, yeah, so I would say that I definitely don't think that my Etsy shop would be as successful. And I will say this about Etsy. I'm very grateful for the platform, but man, do they nickel and dime you. I mean, they take so many fees off the top that if I even remotely had any sense of like how to build a website, I would not put up with. So, you know, I don't know what else to offer like as advice or recommendation, because like you, I was really like, I don't know how I can contribute apart from like leaving the home and getting a job. Second, we're trying to save for 2 large purchases. Would you suggest doing one at a time to make it easier, or stick to both? As far as saving is concerned, I kind of view the snowball method as applicable here as well. To save for one thing at a time, allow the interest that you build up while saving it to continue funding it, and then roll into the second one. So I would just prioritize it by what is the least expensive thing that you're saving for. But I am not a financial guidance person in any capacity. So take this with a grain of salt, but that's just kind of how I would do it. And then, you know, depending on how much you can contribute, you're going to be more effective saving for one thing at a time. It's going to roll into itself faster, because the more you add to it, the more interest you're going to earn from it. And then you can roll that success then into the next thing that you're saving for. Third, how did you find your finance coach, and where can I get one? Our finance coach is linked to my husband's job. It's not something that is just kind of like out there in the ether that we found. And I know that that is the least helpful answer on planet Earth, but it's not. If I could make a recommendation for this person to everybody, I would, but it's very job specific for my husband. So that, unfortunately, I cannot help you with. Hi, Veda. How do you handle, this is from Barb W6116. Hi, Veda. How do you handle bills that are automatically billed to credit cards, and do you use debit cards instead of cash stuffing? My husband tracks all of the automatically billed bills. We do budget for them every single month, so we're not like, you know, missing the money for them when they come due. They are part of our budgeting process. And yes, absolutely, 1,000%. We use debit cards and we purchase things online. If you watch any of my weekly check-in videos, that's how we reconcile those purchases that are made. We just pull that money out of the envelope. I used to return it to the bank every week. Now I just repurpose that cash, and so I have less to pull when I stuff on Fridays. Less to pull from our checking account when I stuff on Fridays. I'm not doing anything.
No, this is a one-sided effort.
It really is. Here's the quarters. You give me your nickels. And then since you're working on pennies, do you want to give me the dimes?
Sure.
And then here, I'm going to scooch these off to the side. How are we looking frame-wise? Oh, we're doing all right. Push that back. And then here's the pennies. I am not going to be able to count and talk at the same time. If If you've been watching my channel for any period of time, you know that I cannot do that. And that's how you guys correct most of my errors, because I'm usually trying to talk and count. So that ain't happening. Okay, next up is Kayla, who I love. Whenever I see her in my comments, I love seeing her pretty smiling face that's in her little teeny Avi that's up in the left-hand corner. I have learned a tremendous amount from you and Mr. Simple, aka the budget terrorist. He absolutely is. I was wondering, since you use Fetch and accumulate enough points, say you get a gift card for Target, how do you budget that? Do you and Mr. Simple choose to use it toward a pricier purchase and save it, or does it count as free money? Do you earmark it for specific categories like toiletries or clothing? Great question. Whenever I get a Fetch reward, I always do it for a Target gift card because Target is expensive, and I just use it on our like in total on our purchase that week. So it's free money. We don't like earmark it for anything in particular. It's free money. And so if I go into Target that week and I am close to overspending on groceries, that's the category that I apply it to. Or if I'm close to going over on toiletries, I apply it to that category. So we use it as fluid money in our budget to help buffer up those accounts those categories that we spend from the most. Also, I think for future videos, it would be nice to see how the virtual coin jar is built and logged, how much change you have accumulated, and if there is anything that you would like us viewers to send you. I don't want to overstep, but you have a P.O. box for a reason. Let us spoil you just a tad bit. That is so sweet. Kayla, I so appreciate that sentiment from so many of you. You're not overstepping. I just don't want anybody to feel obligated to send me anything. I am going to be keeping a scrapbook of all of the postcards that I have asked. Like, if you want to send me something, send me a postcard from a place that's meaningful to you. Explain why it's meaningful to you. One of my subscribers sent me, Alyssa, she sent me a postcard from Arizona where she and her husband honeymooned. It is so beautiful. And she just sent me or wrote me the loveliest little message on the back of that. And it just warmed my heart. Anytime I've gotten anything into my P.O. box, I have been like an emotional child. So not child, but just like I'm overwhelmed by the kindness of you guys. And Kayla, I'm sure you heard me say something about Mr. Simple's coin jar earlier. Did you want to add anything to the virtual coin jar conversation from earlier? Do you feel like happy with where you left it?
Yeah, I think I pretty much summed it up.
Okay. And just to continue or to add on to to piggyback on the conversation earlier about like spoiling me and things like that. I cannot even begin to tell you how grateful I am for this community and for your kind words and your lovely comments and sentiments. I am just here to showcase how we're doing this and how, two very average people have found their way into an incredible amount of debt and how we are managing to get out of it. And I want more than anything I say this a lot, but I really mean it. The truest freedom is financial freedom. And I would hate it if I felt like, not that you would buy me something to the detriment of your own finances. I don't think anybody would do that, but I want you to treat yourself to Starbucks without guilt or use that money to, buffer up your grocery bill because inflation is for real. There are so many things that I wish for you, and you're not overstepping by asking. And if you really feel compelled, I'm not going to argue with that, but I just want you to understand that I exist here purely as a showcase for how we can all achieve financial freedom and realize our big dreams that maybe we never thought would be possible because we were so encumbered by debt. And so more than anything else, that's what I want for all of us. I think that collectively People are stronger when they don't need financial assistance from anything because they are self-sustaining. So not to go off on like a weird political tangent, but that's what I want more for everybody than anything else. So I will close that that portion of the conversation and step off of that soapbox. Thank you so much though, Kayla, for wanting to show me some love in that way. It's so special to me that I have people in this community that want to do those things. I'm just like beside myself with that. But send me a postcard. I will love that so much. I promise you. Mr. Simple can speak to how giddy I get whenever I get something and how emotional it makes me. So anyways, Sherry says, this is Sherry O'Day, because I know I have a couple Sherrys here. I know in the past you have saved for fans. Remember the fans we could not remember? Fans, gutters, and home office. What's next? What happened to the screen doors? Do we get to see the whole office when it's completed? How does your hubby keep track of the overages and shortages? Did you count all the change in the container or did I miss the video? This is the video. Okay, first up, we put the screen doors on the back burner because my Etsy shop has been getting progressively busier since launching it. And so I really need dedicated office space. And so we reprioritized screen doors also because we were coming up to a time of year when we wouldn't need them anyway. So we reprioritized screen doors to come after the office. I will absolutely film an office video for you guys just to like show you little snippets of what we decide to do. Like from a decor standpoint, what different thought processes went into the decision making and all that sort of stuff. What happened to the screen doors though? I have, much to the chagrin of my husband, I was like, you know what? When we redo the screen doors, I want to paint the front door black. And he was like, what? No, why? And then I sent him a picture and he was like, oh, yeah, okay, I see where you are. One of the fantastic things about Mr. Simple here is that he just kind of rolls with the punches when it comes to my like decor decisions. He has never ever fought me on anything like that. He just kind of trusts my process. And so once I showed him a picture of what was in my brain, he was completely on board with it. So what's going to happen in conjunction with the screen doors now is the paint for the front door. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with, I think it's called Tricorn Black from Sherwin-Williams. And then I want to install brass hardware on it, but like a more vintage looking brass handle. Yeah, so we're going to do that in conjunction with the screen doors. So it's going to be like an entire thing. And that will be the very next thing that we go to. I will give you some like fun things also in the future that we're going to be saving for on our radar. Oh, you lost it. No, man. On our radar, after the screen doors, we really want to save up for a reverse osmosis filtration system for the water in our house. We're going to start with like a smaller one just in our kitchen sink, and then we're going to move up to probably installing one that filters the water for the entire house. I don't know how many of you know this or pay attention to this, but the things that they put in our water in the United States of America are toxic. The level of fluoride that we have in our water is so bad for you because there are different kinds of fluoride, and the fluoride that we have in our water is the toxic kind. It's so bad. And so there's just a lot of stuff that we want to filter out of the water. It's better for your skin. It's better for your hair. It's better for your consumption. And so we want to filter all of that gunk out of it. In addition to that, we want to redo our closet system, but we're going to make it a budget version because this is not our forever home. And I'll touch more on that because I was asked that question as well. But yeah, so we're going to go with like the IKEA PAX system, which is super, super like adjustable. You can make it fit your space really well. And so that's what we'll be doing as far as that is concerned. And so those are some of the things that we are looking forward to saving up for in the future. We have a pretty decent list of house projects though. So, we'll be here saving for them for a while, especially while we're paying down our debt. It's not going to be funded nearly as aggressively as, obviously paying down our debt. And Alyssa actually confirmed she thinks an office tour would be so cool. Let's see. Here we go. Not budget related. You mentioned one time that you all lived in Haiti. Can you elaborate on what prompted your decision to live there? It was job related. It was a job assignment. And so we had to move there. And it was a short-lived experience and one that I don't think I will ever forget. The level of poverty in Haiti is oppressive, and some awful, awful things have made them what they are, not the least of which is our government. They are the only, this fun facts with Veda, they are the only successful slave revolt in the history of the world. And it happened at a time when the Western world still had slaves. And so the United States refused to acknowledge a relationship with them. One, because their slave revolt was against France, and we are allies with France. And two, because we still had slaves, and we didn't want our slaves getting any ideas and having a successful slave revolt. And so we refused to acknowledge the sovereignty of Haiti as a nation. And that, I think, probably set off a pretty nasty spiral of negative things that have happened to them over the course of time. They have an old proverb in the country that says, behind mountains are mountains. And basically what that means is behind difficulty is more difficulty, because as a country, they have faced so much difficulty. And I wouldn't even recommend that you go visit it now, because you're not helping them by going to visit them. Their politicians are even worse than ours, and just pray for the people of Haiti. That's the only thing I can say to that. Just pray for the people of Haiti. Next up is from that was Carrie Strobeck, by the way, who I also love seeing in my comments. She is a regular. Are you going to just keep making noise over there so I can't talk to the people?
What are we doing here?
I don't know.
All right.
The next up is from Crystal J, who was one of my OG regulars. I swear she's been here longer than I have. She says, 1, is Mr. Simple from Delaware too? No, Mr. Simple is from West Philadelphia, born and raised. I just love saying that anytime I have an opportunity. How did you meet? Here we go. This is the long-awaited Mr. and Mrs. Simple love story, I suppose. We met when he was in college. So we had a single mutual friend that I went to church with, and he had just broken up with a girl, and I had just broken up with a boy. And the mutual friend was like, hey, because Mr. Simple was going to church with this ex-girlfriend, and since they were no longer dating, he didn't want to keep going to church there and needed a ride to church because he did not have a car, because again, he is the fiscal conservative here.
I was also a broke college kid.
A broke college kid. Yeah, but you didn't take out loans. You didn't take out loans for things that you couldn't afford.
That's true.
That's called responsible living, I think. Hold on, I need to count. So if I have 5 in each of these piles and I need $5, I need 10 piles? 2,
yeah,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Counting is not my forte. We all know this. So because I was so heavily involved in the church that we met in at the time, I actually took a break from going because so was my ex-boyfriend, and seeing him every week was kind of painful. So I stopped going. But on the first Sunday I decided to go back to church, Mr. Simple was there in the pew with my friend, and I was like, who is this fella? And then when we stood up during the worship portion of it, he was also tall, which is not a thing. I mean, I cared about it then, but in hindsight, I'm like, that's so silly, because my dad was actually short. My dad was 5'8" and one of the best men I've ever known. And so if you have a height standard and you are single, wipe that off the cards. To care about height is so stupid. You want a man. So, anyway, enough of that tangent. And so I, thought he was handsome, and we kind of like hung out at the mutual friend's girlfriend's house afterward and got to know each other a little bit. We're a little flirty. And then the next week you asked for my phone number, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The next week he asked for my phone number, and the rest is history. We started like dating officially within a couple months of that. And I was 18 and he was 20 when we met. And then we got married when I was 21 and he was 23. So that was really it. I mean, for us. Not, it's not Romeo and Juliet levels. Romeo and Juliet levels. That's my Italian upbringing, turning her into Julio. But they killed themselves. So I'm not trying to be at that level yet. Anyway, that really went off the wire. Anyway, so yeah, we've been together ever since 2003 is when we met. So we've known each other 21 years.
Yeah.
Crazy. She also, and then favorite place you've lived.
It's a tough one.
Delaware. I think Delaware is my favorite place. And it's not just because it's home, but people sleep on Delaware. But I got news for you. It is close to Philly, Baltimore. All right. And those aren't really places you want to be close to anymore. But still, Philly, Baltimore, DC. That's like Mordor. You don't really want to be close to there anyway. But I mean, it's fun to visit. There are lots of really cool museums there. New York City. You can get to the beach. You can get to the mountains. Like, it is, in my opinion, one of the best states to live in. And I think probably that is still my favorite place that I have ever lived. For sure. You too?
Yeah, it's up there.
It's up there. And then, is Texas your forever place, or do you think you'll eventually move to be closer to family? I think at some point, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think at some point we thought that Texas was for our forever place. But more recently, we have been both feeling the pull to move back closer to family. We don't know what that means for us or how long it'll take us to get there. And certainly with the debt we still have to pay down, we are not allowing it to be an all-consuming part on our radar, so to speak. So, but stay tuned, because I think we both kind of feel the pull, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
To be back home?
Yeah.
Thank you, Crystal. Blackbird Fly 0128 asks, how do you go about teaching budgeting, money management to your kiddos? So right now, they're 12 and 8, and they don't make their own money. Something that we don't ever really talk about with them. Oh, I guess they know that they have little savings accounts. And actually, I think we have told them at this point, if they ever are gifted cash for birthdays or Christmas or whatever, we just put that right into their savings account. They don't have access to it. But yes, in the future, like my son wants a job when he is like 14 and can get a work permit. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but he wants one. And so the second that happens, we're going to enact cash budgeting and stuffing with him. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, you bugger. So I can't do anything with that.
Why don't you make them in stacks of 10?
Cause your mom.
Okay, good.
Good talk?
Good talk, yeah.
Good talk. So yeah, so we will have a more in-depth, hands-on approach with them and their finances, whenever that happens. Cause I think my husband and I have both said, we did not have the kind of like intimate money handling conversations with our parents that we would like to have with ours, so that, or with our children, so that they don't end up in the position where we are now. Start them young. It's like any kind of conversation with your kids. Start young and have them often. But right now it's just not really relevant in their little brains. They know we budget. That is definitely something that they know that we do, and that it is a regular occurrence in our home. And so that, I think, is setting the stage for us to be like, okay, so all these times that you saw us budgeting, this is what we were doing. And so that's kind of our plan moving forward. Erin loves coffee. Erin, me too. She asks, not sure if you answered this question or not, where did you get your name? I think if memory serves, it's the name of the girl in the movie My Girl. Not budgeting related, but I've always wondered. Yes. Veda Sultanfoots from the movie My Girl. Yes, that is the correlation there. And love. It's unique. And so for that, I am very, very happy. How do you, this is Emily T, 112. How do you plan for quarterly bills like security systems? Do you have sinking funds or just add it to the regular bills when it's due? Yes. My recommendation to anybody starting out especially would be separate out every single category so that you know what is coming due when, and how much you need to stuff for it. So we actually have, pest control that happens once a quarter, but we stuff for it every single month so that we just have the money there and it's ready and waiting for us when the bill comes due. M Budgets 5476. What budget advice would you give to a couple in their mid-20s, 24, 25? Do it together if you're married. Do not combine your finances if you are not married. Don't do it. I don't care if it looks cool or if you think that you can have more success if you do it together. Don't do it. Keep your money separate until the ring, and by the ring, I mean the wedding ring, is on your finger, because a relationship can still crumble if you're engaged. Don't hitch your wagon to somebody whose wagon's not hitched to yours. But apart from that, do it together. Sit down, have a serious conversation about what your financial goals are. Make sure that you are both disciplined together and calling each other out together if one of you is not living up to your end of the bargain, so to speak. And don't ever use a credit card. If you cannot pay cash for it, you cannot afford it. And trust me when I tell you, the bag that you think you want, the shoes that you think you want, the vacation that you think you want, the car, the apartment, the house, whatever it is not worth it to swipe a card for something or take out a loan for something that you cannot afford. You will add so much unnecessary stress to your relationship by doing that, especially if you're not on the same page financially, by trying to buy crap that you do not need. I sound like Dave Ramsey now.
I was going to
Stop buying stuff you don't need to impress people you aren't important or whatever. I don't know. Better than I deserve. Anyway, so that would be my number one. Or I mean, that was a lot of things, but what would you say?
I would say listen to people who've been successful in it. You know, mean, maybe you don't know if your parents are good at handling money, but if they are, talk to them, see how they did it. You know, there are resources out there like Dave Ramsey,
Yeah.
who's you know, his system has, whether you agree with everything or not, has proved very beneficial for a great number of people.
Yep.
So
Yeah, guys,
look
I
for
know
that.
he's a boomer. He's such a boomer. I get it.
Right, but don't, you know,
Don't let that turn you off from the words that he's saying. Like, he really does mean well. He's like, he's the dad who wants you to achieve success, and he's going to yell at you in order to get you there. But it's because he cares. Like, genuinely, I actually think that he really cares. Anyway, go ahead. You were saying.
that's it. Nope.
Okay. So that is it. Hold on. 2 up and a dog. I hope I said that right. Awesome. Can we see Mr. Simple's spreadsheet, please? Also, do you do the budgeting off screen work together? What high yield savings account do you have? We have Ally, but honestly, if you know somebody who has Marcus by Goldman Sachs, do it, because they will give you a referral code, and Goldman Sachs, I think when you open up from somebody else's referral code, will give you an extra like 1% for the first like 3 to 6 months or something. So we don't have that one. But that would be my recommendation. Ally, we have and have used and have really appreciated. And then, you know, but like I said, if you know somebody with the Marcus by Goldman Sachs, that's for sure the way to go, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can't do anything with this. So are we done? Five, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So I can't do anything with this.
So you're 1 dime short, or do you need, you're 11 dimes short.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. So we have less than we thought.
So off.
We were really off. Hold on. I was like 150. Well, we also have change here that we can't roll. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 2, 53, and 54. That's still good money we're going to be able to put in vacation.
That's true.
54. So I'm just going to keep reading the questions though, because we do still have some questions, just a few more, and then we'll be done. Okay. We had a little interruption there. So do you do the budgeting off screen, work together? Yes. Well, actually, no, we used to do it together. There are a lot of things that we do together. So the reconciling of the cash purchase, or the debit card purchases that I have to return to the bank from our cash stuffing, that stuff we do together. But largely at this point, I do the budget. Like, I write out the budget. He puts it in his spreadsheet, and then we each have different systems for like spreading the cash out over all 4 weeks. I try to make it even from a content standpoint, and he just decides what is a priority as far as, what has to be paid and when. But because we keep our mortgage in the bank, and my Etsy, I get paid from Etsy weekly. And so that money just sits in our account too and kind of serves as a buffer. So the way that I do my monthly or my weekly stuffing plans never interferes with our checking account. Also, because at this point we're like a month and a half ahead in like electric and our water and that kind of stuff. And so that money just all kind of sits in our checking account and serves as a buffer for us. And so, yeah. So the answer is yes and no. We do some things together and we do some things separately. Leanne Starks said, she's been with my channel forever, I feel like. I don't remember you saying, but do you transfer your sinking funds into a high yield savings account until you need them? Thank you for answering. It depends. So for a long-term sinking fund, something like Christmas, or even actually our, depending on what we're saving for our house project, once we reach the threshold of $500, I take the cash out of our binders and then I run it to the bank, and then we do put that in our high yield savings account because we have different buckets that meet those categories as well. Mr. Simple has hit 500 of his spending money in our high yield savings account as well, so that it can kind of build
indeed.
up. Yeah. Our vacation, things like that come around rarely. Those are the ones that we actually take the time to take to the bank and make sure get into our high yield savings account. Otherwise, it's just not really worth it because you're spending from them so regularly. But the more long-term ones, they do go in the high yield savings account. This one is such a fun one for me. I know this is Kendra. Kendra? She's ordered from my shop a couple of times. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name though, because I know that I would probably butcher it. If I had to guess, I would say Niehaus, but I know that I probably killed that. Anyway, she's probably cracking up right now. I am a huge Gilmore Girls fan as well, and want to know your opinion of who Rory should have ended up with, Dean, Jess, or Logan. I have so many things to say about this. So I know my poor husband, he's like, oh, I'm out. Here's the thing. Jess would be my first choice guy for myself. And the reason for that is because he did a lot of work on himself to better himself and become a really good quality man who I don't think Rory deserved in the end. I think that Rory forgot her roots and she forgot where she came from. And she kind of ended up becoming this sort of self-involved, entitled, non-adult. At least that was my perception of her in the year in the life story. Now, maybe becoming a mother will ground her a little bit and give her some perspective on what is important. But I don't think as she left off at the end of the year in the life, that she deserved Jess at that point. I like Logan. I think he's a decent guy. But I mean, Logan and Rory were having an affair. If Logan wanted to be with Rory, he should have ended his relationship with his fiance. And if Rory wanted to be with Logan, she should not have done it while he was engaged to somebody else. And so those are sort of the qualities that I look at, and I think they deserve each other. Logan is just not my type. And so for me, it's like, meh. I mean, I like him. And I think that he had an impact on Rory and her character and her behavior and all of those sorts of things in a positive way in some aspects. But his woe is me, my daddy wants me to follow in his footsteps and I don't want to stomping his feet. It was just kind of tired as far as I'm concerned. But as far as a quality person, Jess was the guy. In my personal view of things. This is a conversation that I also have with Sex and the City fans. It's another show that I really watched. It's not on my list of favorite shows, and I watch it mostly because I appreciate the friendship between the girls, but I actually think that they're all kind of horrific in their own right. And I understand that everybody got really up in arms when Carrie, eventually just left Aiden or cheated on him and she ends up with Big, but I think that she and Big deserve each other. I don't think that Carrie is good enough for Aiden. And I think that with Big, she got exactly what she deserved. And so much in that same way, I view the relationship between Rory and Logan. I think they deserve each other. I think that Jess is too good for Rory now, since he has grown and developed into this great man. And so that's my thought on it. It's difficult for me to be succinct because I could go on about this forever and ever, but that's the long and short of my answer on that one. And Sherry also appreciated that question as well. Once again, we have another question here from, it looks like something Leah 85. Would you be willing to show the spreadsheets that you use? Yeah, that's just, it's, as I've explained before earlier, it would be so difficult for us to do it because it's just an Excel spreadsheet. There is nothing fancy about it. And my husband has all of his own little rudimentary formulas in there that wouldn't really benefit you guys to see, if that makes sense. So And then last up, actually, What by Kay Vandermeer. What are your travels dreams? What kind of holidays do you like? So just as like a everyday vacation, every year vacation kind of thing, I'm such a beach girl. I love the sand. I love the sea. Well, I love laying on the sand. I don't like it in my bathing suit. And I love looking at the ocean. I don't like going into it because that's the shark's house. That was like a viral video years ago. Anyway, but I love going to the beach. I have so many fond memories of going there with my family. I am a sun girl. I love laying in it. Do not talk to me about skin cancer. Yeah, so as far as that is concerned, just like on a yearly basis, I could go to the beach every year. Travel dreams in the future, though, we do want to take our kids to 2 different sections of Europe when they graduate high school, as like a congratulations, you have entered into the adult realm now celebration sort of thing. And so that is one of the things that we will start saving for after we pay off our debt and save our emergency fund, our 3 to 6 months of emergency fund. My dream would be to, obviously I've mentioned earlier, to go to Belgium. But also there are just so many different parts of Europe that we really, really, really want to visit and take our kids to go see too. And so, yeah, so that is it. That answers all of the questions. And also, what did we say earlier? 10, 20, 30, 40, 52, 53, and 54. So $54 gets to go into our vacation fund. And then all of the leftover change is just going to go right back into the coin jar and will be something that we can roll up next year when we do this video once again to celebrate 2 years of my channel, which would be absolutely crazy. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, I would love it so much if you would go ahead and give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. Did I answer your questions? I feel like that was kind of, I feel like we did good. We answered all the ones that I got in the community post and a couple from a previous video. So we did good. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, if I didn't reel you in just now, I don't know what will. What with all my rambling about Jess and Logan and Carrie and Big and all the rest of it. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to this bonus content, and I will see you on Friday for our weekly check-in, and I hope that you have a fantastic week until then. Bye, everyone.